This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 476.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events, I'm excited. 2 of them next weekend. Actually 3. Well, 2 WordCamp ones and 1 non. I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, WordCamp Torino in Italy is April 14th and 15th. And also WordCamp Vienna is the 15th and 16th. And the third event is why I won't be at either one of those. Not that I would go, well, I want to go to both. That'd be awesome. But I will actually be out of state as well. I have an event coming up in Virginia. I'll be running a long, silly, stupid distance. If you know, you know. All right, moving on. Segment 1 in the news. A couple of things here. Acquisitions are still happening. Crazy. LearnDash acquired Real Big Plugins, the collection that they had of LearnDash add-ons. Gradebook for LearnDash, LearnDash Slack, LearnDash MailChimp. What else? LearnDash ConvertKit. So apparently the whole development team behind those add-ons has also joined the LearnDash team. And as a reminder, 2 things here. LearnDash was acquired by Liquid Web, I think it was last year, or maybe the year before. And Real Big Plugins was co-founded by my good friend Kyle Maurer. And he left, to do other things as well. So it's kind of a big circle there. It's kind of interesting going on there. All right. Also in the acquisition news, WPExperts acquired Payment Plans WC. So they have acquired that from SG Web Partners. Apparently Payment Plans WC gives your customers the flexibility to buy now and pay later as a payment option. So some acquisitions going on there. All right. Is that it? Yeah, that's it for the news. Moving on to the meat and potatoes of this week's episode, WordPress 6.2. And well, if I'm being honest with y'all, as I always intend to do, I always update WordPress core when prompted, after a backup, of course. But I still find myself using the older interface, you know what I mean. And yes, Kyle actually posed the question just a few weeks back, if and when I would try out the block editor or maybe move to it. And the answer is right now. Well, okay, not forever. I am diving into 6.2 that just came out this past week. I've not done a core release update review in a while. Figured why not? Let's have at it. So with that said, I did spin up a dev site using local. And I went with the default settings on PHP and the whole server stack that they provide for you. I then logged into the dashboard and you get the Welcome to WordPress banner, the Learn More About 6.2 version link. Before clicking around, it's, when I say that banner, it's like when you first install a new version of core or any version of WordPress, even if it's a brand new install, you get a Welcome to WordPress banner. In this case, it has a 6.2 Learn More About It. Okay. Before clicking around, everything looks pretty standard as before. I did notice that the word beta next to the editor, under the hover state of appearance is gone. So that beta is no longer there, which is important because it's no longer beta. On to clicking things around and checking things, starting with that Learn More link, I'm taken to the new page, given some stats right off the bat, and those stats were 292 enhancements were made, 394 bug fixes were taken care of as well. There's some images showing how to edit the site from the editor. There's Manage Menu now is in navigation, a whole bunch of images here. There's a section there about Openverse media right from the editor. In a reminder, Openverse is the library catalog with over 600 million free, openly licensed stock images and audio that you can directly grab from the editor, which is pretty cool. You can copy and paste styles. And the little subtext on the copy and paste styles was, if you perfect the design of one type of blocks, you can then copy and paste those styles to other blocks. So it kind of helps save time. And full disclosure, other page builders, if you will, can do this as well. So just FYI. But it's cool that it's there now as well. All right. So as I read online, Twitter specifically, I also noticed there was no video showing these highlights. In the past, there's always been the music, voiceover, kind of explaining some of these little highlights and what's going on there. And yeah, I'm going to say that was kind of a bummer that it wasn't there. That said, on the bottom of that info page, there is the Learn More About WordPress 6.2 and the links to the learn.wordpress.org site. as well as links to field guide and the release notes as well. So, there's plenty of places to go see videos, just that it wasn't produced for this version of Core, which I'm not sure why. I don't know. Anyway, all right, onward. Let's kick the tires, see how things look and work. Simple site. I'm thinking a travel blog site. I'm going to call it Adam's Awesome Adventures. I went ahead and installed, like I said, through local. Went to the general settings. I added the new name. Interface there's the same. I set the time zone because I do that every time I set up a new site. I set the time zone to where I'm going to be based of that site. For this case, New York, East Coast. Do you do that as well? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. All right. The rest of the area under general settings is the same. Writing, reading, discussion media. Nothing changed there that I could see. Themes, there were 3 installed, 2023, 2022, 2021. I decided I wanted a new theme, actually, at first. I went to the repo. I was looking for a block theme. Originally 10,684 total to choose from. Narrowed it down to the block themes, not that many. I went with 2 to start, Adventure and Radiant Blogger. Starting with Adventure, I wanted to change out basic colors, fonts, whatnot. And I visited the front end, and then I clicked Edit. And starting the top navigation area, click Styles, which is the Styles icon's a little black and white circle. You can change the palette, but I couldn't figure that out. It just wasn't changing for me. I don't know what I was doing wrong. So, and I poked around for a while on this, honestly, people. So I changed it to the other theme called Radiant Blogger. And this one had a different problem because this one had the blog as a separate page, not as a landing page, as the default would have WordPress have it be. So I didn't set that up initially, but you can create a new page from the site editing menu in navigation. You can say, I want this menu to go to this page, and it says create new page. And I said yes. So I did that, called it blog. But then trying to fix that, I found myself navigating over to that template file and the option to recover template, which it did. It recovered the template of a blog, I guess an archive page, technically speaking, but it wouldn't save for me right away. It was just kind of confusing. So with all that said, and I spent a couple hours in these 2 themes trying to figure stuff out, I decided to go back to 2023 theme. And because I wanted to just kind of see how this worked. And now I can see my first and only post. That works just fine. And now going back to the basics, a new post. See how things just interact, adding content, easy enough, adding a photo, changing the fonts, the colors, the size, pictures, all good. Adding more content. I now recall the overall system. I've spent, a day or 2 on this now, and I'm using the block editor on a post as well as how one can adjust the templates. In this case, a single post page is what I wanted to restyle. Now, heading back over to that templates area, like I said earlier, a few minutes ago, no longer in beta. So you go to the templates area inside of the dashboard, well, on the front end, really. I picked single. I want to modify the single page template, single post page, technically. And when I do that, it opens up a page and I get the layout, the core functionality of what that page is presenting. Example being the header image, the post title, the content, the tags, the comments. And of course, you can go into each one of those sections and change how they will look. The color, the font, the layout. You can move things around. And I did that. I poked around. I moved the footer up to the top. I changed the post title to red. I removed the comments. I changed the justification of a featured image and the color overlay. I saved. I refreshed. And I could see my changes on the single post page. Very cool. Pretty easy. Pretty basic. What I couldn't figure out in that moment was how to make the image, the featured image, be smaller. I might have to ask my friend Courtney on that one. I just couldn't figure that out at the time. It was weird. What I did also notice, though, on the positive side, is when I went to create a new post after I modified the template page, the template of the single post page, when I went to add a new post, the settings on that front end, adding the new content, were also changed, meaning in this case, I justified everything left. And that was the same now adding a new content, which makes total sense for consistency, I suppose, but it didn't, I don't know. I thought it was interesting that it did the same thing. I didn't like the look of it either way. Nothing should be totally justified left on a blog. Anyway, I digress. All right. So yeah, the site itself and working with things, it comes back to you. I mean, I've toyed with it over the years as it's come out, a couple years now. Regarding, and to wrap this up, again, 30,000 foot view, just to kind of keep this brief here, 6.2 does seem to have a lot more refinements. Some things have moved around. I've noticed a few myself, and as I read about the settings and whatnot, and a lot of new functionality there. But as I'm not a day-to-day user, of the block editor, of the new front end and back end and template modifications and block patterns, I wouldn't know just yet like how much different they are. From my experience just in the last couple of days messing around with this, it looks pretty cool. Okay. Now that said, regarding the question if I will use the block editor, well, honestly, it's growing on me. I grin and smile and kind of chuckle because it's true. I think if I spent enough time in it, it would click. It's starting to click now. I get that. But that's the rub. For me, my day-to-day job right now is looking for client work, getting client work, assigning client work, rinse and repeat. I need to carve out space to learn it as well. Maybe even come up with a personal project to use it. And maybe I should document that. I mean, and again, I have some sites that are due for refreshes of my own projects, my own personal things. I say that, but yeah, there you have it. 30,000 foot view, 6.2. It's solid. I've updated a handful of sites, like I said last week, to it. But of course, make a backup first and then go from there. All right. Love to hear your experience with it. If you like it, don't like it, let me know why. Maybe send in a question for the next episode, not next week. I think the week after is a Q&A episode. All right. Moving on. Segment 3, the tip and tool of the week. This week's tip is a show on Netflix. I might have mentioned the show in the past. I'm not sure, but I'm going to mention it again, specifically an episode. The show is called Abstract, and it's specifically an episode about fonts that it's all focused on Jonathan Hoefler. He also owns typography.com, a fascinating take on fonts and on iconography and typography. I had no idea. I really didn't. Definitely check it. If you have Netflix, check it out. It's season 2, episode 1, I believe. So the show's called Abstract. Link in the show notes. I believe I can do that. Maybe not. I don't know. All right. That's it for this week. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that SpeakPipe functional website. If you want to support the show, you become a Patreon. There's a link on the website as well. You can sponsor the show. There's a form on the website to fill out. If you're looking for some business coaching in my new group coaching program, you can go to adamsilver.com. Check that out there. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right? Bye-bye.